Hi everyone, I'm Shaylin here with Reedsy. So today I'm going to be running through some NaNowriMo prep tips. If you've never heard of NaNowriMo and you're thinking, what is this extremely strange word? It is an abbreviation for National Novel Writing Month. Basically, it's just a challenge where a bunch of writers try to write a book, a 50,000 word book, in the month of November. And October is usually referred to as Preptober, the time where authors are preparing for the challenge of NaNowriMo. So if you're currently preparing for NaNowriMo, here are a few tips to help you. As a NaNowriMo veteran, these are all things that have helped me throughout the various NaNowriMos that I've done. Number one, make a custom schedule. Now NaNowriMo comes in with kind of the built-in schedule where you write 1,667 words a day, and by the end of the month, you'll have 50,000 words. Now, if you have a very consistent life with no real plans for the month, maybe you just want to stick to that. If you have a more fluctuating or busy schedule, you may want to create your own writing schedule that adjusts for busier periods. I first started doing NaNowriMo in high school, and because I was a student, there would be weeks where I have a bunch of assignments due and other weeks that were a bit lighter. So before the start of NaNowriMo, I would look at the month ahead, look where I had things due, look where I had big tests, and also look at the days where my workload would be lighter. And I would adjust the word count so that I would be writing less or maybe even none on those busier days and writing more on those freer days. Now that I'm no longer a student, it's much easier to anticipate a consistent schedule, but you can adjust for things like trips, appointments, social events, family, anything that might throw you off one day, you can plan for in advance. Step 2, get organized. Now is the time to organize everything so that in the narrow window of time you have that you're trying to use to write, you don't searching through 8 million documents for that one line of dialogue that you're pretty sure you wrote down but you don't know where. Since I am a pantser, I like to take this time to look over all of my notes and put them in a general chronological order. Organizing what I have in an easy to use way. I used to even print my notes and put them in a binder so it was like super easy to flip through and I would like make notes with highlighters and stuff. I don't do that anymore, but it is an option if you like to have that like tangible outline to work from. So since I don't really outline, I like to just organize my notes. I don't worry about filling in the gaps, but I just keep everything in a really easy to find way. If you're an outliner, you might want to put the finishing touches on your outline. You may find yourself pressed for time throughout the month, and you don't want to waste precious time sifting through your documents. So get organized, get everything in one place. And if this includes a lot of outlining, we've got a video on 7 ways to outline your book that you can check out. It ranges all the way from very loose outlines designed for pantsers like me to much more complex outlines and different types of outlines for different types of books. So if you're spending the month making an outline and getting organized for you means making an outline, check out that video. The next tip is to clear your to-do list. One of the best ways to ensure you have some extra time to write throughout the month of November is to clear your to-do list now. I'm sure we all have this list of tasks that, you know, it's kind of just like pending things that you have to get done. Make that phone call, make that appointment, return that thing, clean that. You know, that never-ending list that we all have. Well, now's the time to set aside some time and just do it. Make those phone calls that would take 15 minutes, book that appointment. If you're a student, you can even do things like try to get a little ahead on reading or assignments. Anything that you can get out of the way now will just give you that extra amount of time and a clearer mind going into NaNowriMo. And along with that, the next tip is to clean your workspace. Personally, I find that having a messy workspace makes it really hard to focus, it's really distracting, and NaNowriMo is not the time that you want to be distracted. You want to be able to just sit down and focus, and so I find it just minimizes stress and minimizes distractions to just do like a deep clean and a deep organize of my workspace before the start of NaNowriMo. The next tip is to brainstorm plot points. Now, if you're an outliner, you probably have all of this sorted, so this tip is more for the pantsers out there. I would recommend for pantsers to set aside a day or two to do some brainstorming and brainstorm some possible plot points. You don't have to put them in order. You don't have to even figure out how or when or if at all they will actually fit into your plot. But just start to build this bank of material. So if you get stuck, you can turn to this list of possible plot points and have a ton of possible ideas on where to take your story. The next step is to do some thorough character development. One of the best ways to help avoid getting stuck or help you get out of situations where you get stuck is to have a really solid understanding of your protagonist and other important characters. Stories are often fueled by a character's desires and goals and motivations. And the better you understand those things and the better you understand your character and how they will react in different situations, the easier it is to work through tricky plot points. The more you can see your characters as fully rounded, complex humans who feel like real people, the easier it is to understand and anticipate their actions, reactions, and emotions. The writing will just come much more naturally, and you'll be able to much more easily, intuitively work your way through scenes and the plot as a whole. The next tip is to make sense of your book's stakes. Now, most writers will start to struggle around week 3 of NaNowriMo, when they get around the 30 or 35,000 word mark. Of course, not necessarily, but this is a very common place to get stuck. Week 3 is, for most writers, notoriously the hardest week of NaNowriMo. One key way to help you get through any difficult patches, including the notorious week 3, is to have a really solid understanding of your book's stakes. The reason a lot of people struggle here, and struggle at this point of a book in general, is because this is the point where you've introduced quite a lot of plot elements, you're past the beginning, you're into the middle of the book, and you can start to lose momentum. And a lot of writers at this point, what will happen is they lose track of what's at stake for their characters, and what the characters have to lose. And since this is such a primary source of tension, without it, the story will kind of grind to a halt. If you can keep track of what your character has to lose, this is like a constant fire underneath the story that can help keep it moving. The next step is to figure out your story engine. This is a screenwriting term. In screenwriting, the story engine is the device that keeps the show moving episode to episode. Basically, it's a consistent source of fuel that can keep a story moving over an extremely long period of time, perhaps multiple seasons of a TV series. This story engine continues to generate episodes over and over and over. So for example, in The Good Place, we meet our protagonist Eleanor Shellstrop, who dies and finds herself in the good place, but quickly realizes that there's a mistake and she should have gone to the bad place. The story engine is that Eleanor will continually be put in compromising positions that threaten to reveal her secret, leading to choices that test her character and lead to her character development over time. If you understand what the story engine of your novel is, you can continue to develop these smaller episodes that build the larger structure of your novel. The next tip is to set your own goals. Now, the 50,000 word mark is the typical NaNowriMo goal and is a great one to strive for, but it just doesn't work for everyone. It's okay to have a different goal or have your own goals alongside that 50,000. In fact, if you are aiming for the 50,000, I would actually recommend really thinking about what do you want to get out of this besides the word count. Why are you doing this? What's your reason for doing this? At the points that this challenge starts to get difficult, which it often is for many people, especially if you don't usually write at this capacity, it will get hard, and it's good to have an internal understanding of your motivations and what you want to get out of this beyond just a word count. What do you want to get out of NaNowriMo? Do you want to make progress on a story that you've wanted to write for a really long time? Do you want to re-find a sense of motivation? Do you want to figure out a writing schedule that works for you? Are you looking to be more productive? Are you looking to stop second-guessing yourself? What will this challenge do for your project and for you as a writer? It's also okay to set alternative goals other than the 50,000. The past 2 years, I've participated in NaNowriMo, but I kind of just set my own goals because the 50,000 word mark didn't work for me and wasn't really appealing for me. I didn't want to write 50,000 words in a month. I like to draft slowly and carefully, so fast drafting 50,000 words in a month is actually kind of unappealing. But I still wanted to participate and I wanted to get something out of it. So in 2020, I set the goal of writing every day. I'd started a book earlier in the year and I didn't like how I'd written it. I wasn't happy with it, and I got about 20,000 words in before I realized that I had to restart it. And restarting a book felt like such a chore. It's like, I've already written these scenes and words, now I have to rewrite them with some different stylistic choices. It just felt like a ton of work. So condensing that into NaNowriMo made it feel super manageable and actually kind of exciting. So NaNowriMo was my way of rewriting these words in a condensed time and just kind of getting it done. I wasn't worried about the 50,000 word goal, I just wanted to rewrite this section of my book. NaNowriMo isn't one size fits all. The real spirit of NaNowriMo is to, challenge yourself to write more, to stop worrying about editing and just write something, and to do that in a community of fellow writers. The core spirit of NaNowriMo isn't write 50,000 words. That's kind of just an arbitrary number. You may want to get something completely different out of NaNowriMo, and that's totally okay. And the final NaNowriMo prep tip is just get excited about your project. I find October is the time where I just want to immerse in my book, so I'm so excited on November 1st to open that document and start writing. I like to start listening to my playlist for the book all the time. You can reread books or rewatch shows or movies that initially inspired it, whatever works for you. If you're an artist, maybe you want to start drawing some of your characters. stuff like that. Whatever it is for you that inspires you, that gets you into the mindset of a book, now is the time to do it. So on that first day of NaNowriMo, we're so excited to start writing that book. The more excited you are about it, the more energy you'll have, and it won't feel like a chore. It'll be something that you're just really excited to do. So I would like to hear your best NaNowriMo prep tips in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos from us. We've got new writing, editing, and publishing tips every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time, bye.